Thanks again. Thanks again for being here, and I'll hand it over straight to you.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Daisy Magnus Aite. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. Once I start sharing my screen, I can't always see the folks on the chat. So if you could just give me a shout out to confirm that you can see it.
Yes, we can see it, Daisy.
Awesome. Thank you all. Again, my name is Daisy Magnus Aite. Also on this call from Code the Dream is Mary Alice Moore and Cruz Nunez. We are all with Code the Dream, and interestingly enough, we've all been students of Code the Dream at some point, and now we're all developers and full-time staff. For this next 25 minutes or so, we want to go through these agenda items. First, we want to share a little bit about what is Code the Dream. We'll go through our mission and our history and where we are right now. We'll take a little bit, we'll talk a little bit about our unique model and how we're opening up opportunities for people that come from marginalized backgrounds, immigrant backgrounds, refugees, etc. Then we'll talk a little bit about the technology that we build. At this point, I'd love to introduce you to Cruz Nunez, who's one of our lead developers, and he can talk a little bit about the work that he does with Code the Dream. Afterwards, we'll talk more in depth about Code the Dream classes, and at that point, Mary Alice will take over and give you all the details about our open application cycle. We are taking applications right now, and applications close on Sunday. And so we are hopeful that all of you on the call will see yourself at Code the Dream and will submit an application to come learn with us. So what is Code the Dream? Code the Dream, at Code the Dream, we create opportunity that changes lives, build technology that benefits our community, and we support the diversity that drives a more just and innovative world. Code the Dream is a nonprofit. We are based in Durham, North Carolina, but we actually have participants from all over the country. We got started in the fall of 2014 as a way to give people from low-income backgrounds a chance to pivot into a career in technology through a free boot camp education. Since then, we've grown tremendously from our initial pilot program in 2014 to now having participants from 17 states around the country, and we have staff around the country as well. And we are a completely online class and code boot camp and development shop as well. So what makes our model unique is that we build technology that impacts our community. So in addition to being a code school, we're also a development shop, and we are building really amazing, really impactful tech for good projects. And the folks who are doing the work on those projects are all formerly Code the Dream students. And so after taking a class with us, we invite them to our apprenticeship, and they get that hands-on experience that really propels them into a full-time role in technology. In addition to that, we are supporting the diversity that drives innovation. One really important factor of Code the Dream is how incredibly diverse our staff is. We believe very strongly that greater diversity drives innovation, because when we have different people with different perspectives and different backgrounds working on the technology that will impact our communities, we can focus on urgent, important, and diverse issues. So the way that we work our model is it's a two-step process. First, we have Code the Dream School, which is a completely free intensive class in web development. We focus on front-end and back-end technologies, and people go through our classes in 6 to 9 months. And then we have Code the Dream Labs. Code the Dream Labs is real world experience. We have folks who are apprentices with us in Code the Dream Labs. It's a 9 to 12 month commitment, and they work with us doing all the same things that a junior developer would. They work with senior developers. They work on real world projects. They're in front of clients. They're doing all the things that they would at Cisco or IBM or Airbnb or any of those really big companies, and they're doing it with Code the Dream. So Code the Dream is opportunity that changes lives. Following our free classes and apprenticeships, more than 85% of apprentices go on to launch successful careers in technology. So this is some of the places, this is just some of the places that our alumni have gone on to work. Google, Duke University, Airbnb, Amazon, Tango, the state of North Carolina, and Thoughtbot. So it's really a great array of big tech companies, mid-sized tech companies, local dev shops, national chains, etc. And then lastly, Code the Dream is a technology that benefits our communities. And so again, the kind of projects that folks work on in Code the Dream Labs are really technologies that connect people from low-income, diverse communities to the help that they need, to apps that are really going to impact their lives and make a difference in their day-to-day. So one of the projects that we work on is Vamos, and you can check out more of our work at codethedream.org/portfolio. At Code the Dream, we are changing the face of technology. One of the things that I really, I'm just so honored to work at Code the Dream every day as a Black immigrant woman. Less than 1% of people in technology have a background similar to mine. Technology, as you likely know, is over 90% white male. And so to find anybody that is, not a white male, anybody who has an immigrant background, anybody who is very rare. It's rare in tech as a whole, but it is very common in Code the Dream. At Code the Dream, we are 80% people of color, many from immigrant and refugee backgrounds, and we have over 50% of our participants are women. And so we're really proud of the intentionally diverse community that we've built. It's very inclusive and welcoming, and just really a joyful place to be. So at this point, I want to pass it over to Cruz and let y'all meet Cruz. He is one of our lead developers, just brilliant and kind. And yeah, I'd love to pass it over and he can share a little bit about his experience.
Thank you, Daisy. Hello, everyone. My name is Cruz. I've been with Code the Dream since late 2014, so 8 years now, maybe, almost. I was a part of Code the Dream's first classes when they were still figuring out what Code the Dream was. The classes looked different than what they do now, but I was still grateful to be part of, that I was part of that, whole first class, because that class kind of showed me that, I could have a job as like a web developer, because, just like Daisy, I'm also an immigrant. My parents come from Mexico and I was born in Mexico. I was brought here at the age of 4, very young. And I was in ESL until like 3rd grade. And then in high school, I wasn't sure what I was going to do after high school because I wasn't sure of my career opportunities, as an immigrant, what can I do? I didn't know. I was just going to community college, still not sure, what career I wanted. But then I saw an opportunity to take free coding classes. And I had always been interested in tech, and who doesn't like free things? So I took the program, or I took the classes, and I found out, that I actually understood how to do this. It wasn't that hard. It was like writing inside of a Word document when you're writing a paper for school. It's basically all you're doing, writing instructions for computers. And I really liked it. So I continued doing that. And I've been on projects, some that Daisy mentioned. One of them is Vamos. Another one is Oye, which their whole goal is to make sending text messages to massive groups of people cheaper, to help organizations save money, especially like nonprofit organizations and groups like that. I've been a part of this project called Second Chance Driving, which their goal is to help people get their driver's license back. Certain people have had unresolved traffic tickets for like over decades, 10, 20 years, and have been unable to renew their license because of it. But now the court system and judges are relieving these people from these old tickets, but these people don't know that they have received this relief. So through this Second Chance Driving website, they can enter their name and date of birth, and then find out if they have received relief or not, if their records have been cleared, and if they can renew their license. And then that project was just for the county that I live in currently, called Durham County. But then it was later expanded to the whole state of North Carolina, into this other project called NC Fair Chance. So now, their aim is to have this kind of service available to all the counties in North Carolina. And it also has an additional feature that we plan to roll out soon for expunging people's records for non-traffic related incidents that people could also be forgiven for. So I'm very grateful that I get to work in meaningful projects like that. Another thing that I like about Code a Dream is that there's always something to do, and it's always kind of different. Like the projects are either helping like migrant farm workers, or people save money through text messages, or helping people get their like licenses back, and have a valid form of ID, so you can actually have transportation and open up accounts at establishments, and you need an ID to go on planes. And personally, as a person, I love being creative. I've always liked making things, putting it out into the world, and have it be enjoyed by people. So I like to make code, I like to make music, I recently picked up a hobby of like making photos, like picked up a camera. Now I consider myself a photographer, and like to edit videos and post them online. So it's just another way for me to like be creative. And yeah, I think just Code a Dream has really helped me grow as a person over the years, and Code a Dream has also been growing over the years. So glad to see that growth.
Thank you, Cruz. I'm thankful for the projects that you highlighted, particularly the Second Chance Driving. I think if anybody has ever, gone without a license, how incredibly difficult it is just to kind of navigate day-to-day life. And so we had the situation in Durham, and it's probably, very likely happening in different areas around the country, where folks will lose their license because they don't have the money to pay a traffic ticket or a parking ticket. And so it just has these really negative ramifications on their life, because they don't have the money to pay off the ticket. Then they lose their license, and then they lose their job, and then they fall further into debt, and they're not able to kind of get back on their feet. And so we were really excited to partner with the city to help alert people that their debt had been forgiven, that they could get a license, and that they could, start to access things like banking, healthcare, plane tickets, get a job, and have take advantage of all those things that adults need to really participate in day to day. So thank you for sharing, Cruz. Next part, I want to pass it to Mary Alice, who will share a little bit about our application process. We are right now in the process of taking applications, and they close on Sunday. And so we're really hopeful that we'll get some applications from MSU. Can I pass it to you, Mary Alice?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Daisy. And thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon for you and evening for us. So my name is Mary Alice Moore. I'm the class coordinator. So I help work through all of the applications and let students know if they've been accepted, get them onboarded into their classes. So that way they're ready to roll. And then of course, I'm a resource throughout your class too, if you need any assistance with finding your way around the material, since they are remote classes. I'm going to put a link in the chat real quick. That's just a link to our main classes page in case you want to read or look through any of the information there. So as Daisy said, our application period is open right now from now until Sunday, April 10th. That's this coming Sunday. And it's really easy to apply. It's just a form that's on our website to be able to just fill out information on there. And then on Monday, after our applications close Sunday, then we'll send out anybody that has submitted an application to us information about a pre-work assignment project that you'll do. Don't be intimidated by it. It's a pretty simple, straightforward project. And we do have tutorials and resources that help you kind of work through that project. And the reason we do the pre-work assignment is we just have so many people that apply to our program. Having a pre-work assignment gives applicants an idea of how much time and energy they'll be putting in towards each week's worth of classes. And it also lets us know if you are comfortable working through online tutorials, since our classes are online based. So that gives you some information sort of about the upcoming days in getting started and getting involved with our group. I think you can advance to the next slide now, Daisy, and that should break down what the classes are. Yeah, perfect, thanks. So the upcoming classes that this application round is open for is an intro to programming class. It'll start May 25th and run until September 16th. It's a 16-week class. The intro to programming class is very like basic fundamentals. So it's going to be JavaScript basics, HTML, and CSS. And those are sort of the skeleton bones that you need to be able to then flesh out websites and apps. So we cover all of those foundations and fundamentals in that intro to programming class. We're also offering a front-end React.js class for those of you that might already have some experience coding and are looking to get into more advanced material. The front-end React class is 17 weeks of individual work, and then we have an 8-week period at the end that's a practicum where we put you into small groups and you work together on a project. So that way you get experience on working on a development team where you have multiple people building and changing code together. The React class will run June 8th to December 16th, and that includes that 8-week practicum will end December 16th. We also have a backend class, which is a Node.js class, and it's 17 weeks of individual work, 8 weeks of practicum, just like with the React class, also running the same dates, June 8th to December 16th. The front-end React class is going to be building a user interface in React. So it's what a person who uses an app or visits a website will see and interact with. The backend Node.js class, backend is involved more in building your data structures and data architecture. So the information that you provide in a form when you sign up for a newsletter, or the information that you see on a shopping website of products and prices and quantities, all of that is the data portion. And so the data has to be stored and held somewhere and then served up to the front end that the user sees and interacts with, just to kind of give you an idea of what those different classes are and are all about. You can proceed to the next one, Daisy. So if you're wanting to prepare for classes and you feel like you're ready to kind of dive into a tech field position and want to start learning so that way you'll be a good applicant for those roles, you can prepare for classes by finding online coding tutorials. We usually recommend sites like Khan Academy, Odin Project, Free Code Camp are all sites that are useful resources to go to that are free open source education materials. You'll want to watch introductory coding videos on YouTube too. So if you're completely new to coding, you've never done any of it before, then watching videos about like what is JavaScript, what is HTML is really helpful to kind of get your feet wet and give you a general broad understanding of what programming and web development are and how they're built. If you're already experienced in some things, then you can experiment around, start building some little things locally on your machine, and just play with the code and get familiar with syntax of how to write the code. And the main thing you'll want to focus on will be JavaScript, HTML, and CSS for the intro class, or the things that you'll want to kind of dig into and research. All right, we can go to the next slide, Daisy.
Do you want to skip this slide too?
Yeah, I already covered that material. Oh, sorry, there we go. Application process. Thank you. Back one. Everything was aligned, so I was like, oh wait, it didn't skip. There it is. Okay. All right, so as we had said, application windows until April 10th. We've had a couple of info sessions, usually any application period, in case you're like, this isn't going to work for me this time, but I might want to apply at the next application period. We always have at least 1 or 2 info sessions during the application window where you can get this kind of information and get more details and ask questions of us about what our programs are structured like, or details about what the application process or class curriculum is like. So you're always welcome to attend info sessions. The pre-work that I was talking about earlier, so for the intro class, if you're applying for the introductory class, it's just using JavaScript only to be able to build a small animation. So it would be, having a circle appear when you click on the screen, or have a triangle move across the screen, that kind of a thing. So it's just a very simple animation project. And there's a tutorial that you'll do prior to that. So that way you'll be able to build it. And it walks you through the whole process of writing your code. And you get to see it implemented as you're writing it. For the advanced class, then the pre-work assignment is building just a small static website that uses an open source API. We've selected just a Star Wars open source API. So it's a database that has all the information about Star Wars movies and characters and planets and ships and all that kind of stuff. And so you'll just create a site where users can click through and see all of that list information. Or if you want to be a little fancier, you can have them search through that information, or click a movie title and have it list the characters, and then click a character to see the character details. You can kind of build it in whatever way makes sense to you. For advanced classes, we do occasionally do interviews. It doesn't necessarily mean you will or will not be getting a seat in the class. Usually it's just so that we can get more information from you about how pre-work process worked for you, and or if we had any questions about the information you fill out on your application. And then we let you know decisions, regardless of whether you're accepted or not. We notify everybody. We don't like people just being out there wondering whatever happened to their application. So we always notify everyone whether or not they've been accepted. If you are not accepted for the classes, then we do give you some links for resources that you can refer to if you're trying to kind of self-educate on some things, and then you can always apply next round with us to be able to see if you'll be able to get in at that point. We always hold an orientation a week before the class starts, so that way we can show you where to find your lesson materials, and where to turn to for help, and the other resources that we use to be able to communicate amongst our students and volunteers and administrative staff, so that way you know how to be able to use all of the tools that you'll be using throughout class. So as far as what the date breakdown looks like, and what the step process will be, applications need to be turned in by Sunday the 10th. The pre-work assignment information will get sent out on Monday the 11th of April. You'll have 2 weeks to work on your pre-work assignment, so you'll need to turn it in by Sunday, April 24th, the end of the day, Sunday, April 24th. And then we have to take several weeks to be able to comb through everybody's code and determine who seems like they're ready for our classes, or who might need to take a look at a few more tutorials before they're quite at the level that they need to be to do well and succeed in our classes. So we'll cover any pre-work submissions and take a look and kind of grade them and sift through them. And then anybody that's applying to the introductory class, the intro to programming class, they'll have the answer by May 9th as to whether or not you've been accepted into the class. If you're applying for the React or the Node.js class, then you'll know by May 23rd whether or not you've gotten into that class. Student orientation dates will be May 18th for intro and June 1st for the React and Node classes. And then the class start dates are May 25th for the intro class and June 8th for the React and Node class. So that gives you kind of an idea of the sequence of events throughout the application process. You can move on to the next slide now, Daisy. Thanks. Requirements. A lot of people ask us, what are the requirements? Do I need to be educated in particular areas or anything before I dive into any of your classes, as well as just other general questions. So as far as what to expect for time commitment. Usually it's about 15 to 20 hours per week that you'll devote for 6 to 10 months, depending on if you're starting in the intro class or starting in an advanced class. If you're starting in the intro class, then once that class completes, we usually recommend folks to go ahead and take one of our advanced classes. So you'd be looking at like a 10 to 12 month range for covering intro and one advanced class. But if you're coming in at the advanced level, then it would just be about a 6-month window, since it's the 25 weeks, the 17 weeks of individual work and the 8 weeks of group work. We do ask that you have at least an intermediate English. We do have a very diverse background, as Daisy was sharing with you earlier about the organization. So we do have people from different spoken languages, and you're welcome to connect with each other and kind of work through your assignments together in your native language. But all of our volunteers typically do speak English as their primary language, and all of the mentor sessions are provided in English. You'll want to be sure that you have access to a reliable computer and internet. We do have some further detailed specifications at that codethedream.org/classes link that's up in the chat, so that if you have specific questions like, do I have enough hard drive space? Do I have enough processor speed? Anything like that for your computer, then you can always refer to that site and it'll let you know if what you have will be sufficient. Intro class, you can pretty much get by with anything. The advanced classes, depending on if you're doing front end or back end, you might need something that's a little bit tougher. We are only able to accept applicants that are 18 years old and older. We don't have an upper limit to that age, so whoever is over 18 is welcome to apply. And some coding experience can be helpful, but it's not required for intro. If you have sort of a general knowledge of how computers work, as far as like you can find your way around a file folder or a finder to be able to, work your way through different folders on your computer. If you're familiar with using a browser, and even if you're familiar with like what a browser is and how it works, that kind of thing is very helpful for all of the classes. For the advanced classes, you'll want to be sure that you have a knowledge of coding fundamentals. Since both of our advanced classes we're offering right now are JavaScript-based classes, then knowing your JavaScript fundamentals is going to be key as far as variables and functions and methods and loops and conditionals and how to use all of those. You'll also want to be comfortable with using Fetch API and GitHub for the advanced classes. You don't need to worry about either of those items for the intro level class, because we teach both of those in the intro level class. And then, of course, a desire to be a software developer, commitment to learn, self-driven and motivated are always very helpful characteristics to have to succeed in anything, but especially in learning to code. And just as a reminder, all of our classes are completely free. So you don't pay for lesson materials, you don't pay for any kind of textbooks, you don't pay for the class itself. If for any reason you aren't able to continue in the class, if your life circumstances change and you have to drop the class, you are not penalized in any way. You don't have to pay us anything. Completely free classes. And so for that reason, then we just ask that any graduates or people who are able to make a donation, if they're able to and would like to, then we certainly encourage you to make a donation, so that way we can continue to be offering free classes. But there's never any payment required of our students. And then we can go ahead and move on to the next slide. Oh, okay, good. That's the end of it. All right. So we can go ahead and answer any questions that you have. Feel free to put them up in the chat or unmute and ask questions, and we'll be here to answer those.
I'm going to open up the chat right now. Thank you for that, Mary Alice. Let's see.
Yeah, Cynthia had asked if we're graduating in May, can we still sign up? Absolutely. So the classes don't start until May and June, so that lines up nicely for May graduates, because you'll have a little bit of a break before our classes begin. So yes, you're definitely welcome to apply, regardless of whether you're taking any kind of community college or other education programs or other boot camps. You're welcome to sign up.
David asks, if I'm going for mechanical engineering, am I able to join? Absolutely. regardless of your focus or your concentration or major, if coding is something that you would like to learn and you would like to explore software engineering as a career, you can absolutely take a class with us. And we invite you to apply. Cynthia asks, how competitive is it to get into the program?
Yeah, that one's a tricky one to answer. So it depends on how many applicants submit their pre-work assignments. Our last round of applications, we had about 300 individuals apply. We had about 100 of them actually do their pre-work, and then we were able to accept, it was about 80 total, 60 into the intro class, and then 20 into the advanced classes. So it just kind of depends on how many applications we have each round as to if it's more or less competitive. But we are also trying to grow and scale and increase the number of students that we accept if possible, when and where we can. So it's hard to answer it, but the main thing is to really just focus on your pre-work assignment and making it as solid a pre-work assignment as possible is what's going to give you the best edge.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that helps a little bit, Cynthia. Let's see, can you go a little over your internship opportunities? Absolutely. Daisy, did you want to answer that or did you want me to?
I can, and please jump in if I'm missing anything. So after the Code the Dream classes, we invite some of the alum to go on and to come into our apprenticeship or internship. When classes finish, there are some people who, feel really strong and confident about their skills, and they've really grown a lot, and so they're ready to go in straight to full-time job at any number of great companies. And there are some people who just want a little bit more experience. They want to build up their portfolio and their resume before they start applying to outside jobs. And so for those folks, Code the Dream apprenticeship is a really great fit. It gives you a chance to work for a year in a dev shop. It's a 40-hour-a-week commitment. It's a stipended opportunity. And generally people are coming straight out of our classes into the internship. And so they're working on building up their skills a little bit more. So putting those React skills, those front end and back end skills into real client projects. They work closely with senior developers on our team as well as other apprenticeships. And so generally they're on a team of 3 to 5 and working on a project, and they'll have a senior developer on their team who's kind of guiding them, helping them along the way, doing pair programming sessions, etc. What's the other thing about our internship? What am I missing, Mary Alice?
It sounded like it covered most of it. A lot of people ask how many students wind up going into the apprenticeship after the classes, and it varies depending on what our current dev shop needs are, like what projects we have in our pipeline, and when apprentices are graduating and moving on to jobs with other companies versus ones that have just joined us, kind of a situation. So it can really vary. The past several cohorts, we've had anywhere from 4 to 6 students from each group of advanced classes that we accept. So about 2 or 3 students out of each advanced class that we're able to bring on as apprentices in the development shop side of our organization.
Brenda is asking, is taking classes required in order to apply for the apprenticeships? It's not required. Most of our apprentices do come out of our classes, but occasionally, excuse me, we'll have folks apply directly to our apprenticeship program. And so those are people who have already completed a code boot camp, or maybe they have a little bit of experience in their home country, and they really have the skills needed to jump straight into the apprenticeship. And we can, we have a link to the apprenticeship requirements. If that's something that you would like to take a look at, we can actually drop that into the chat. You can grab that link. Going back a little bit, Valeria asked, how are the classes structured?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you have lesson materials, and depending on which class you're in is going to be what your lesson materials are. For the intro class, it's using Team Treehouse. For the React class, it's using a textbook called Road to React. And then for the Node.js class, it's using Free Code Academy videos, as well as supplemental information that we're building in to go along with those videos. So for the back end and the intro classes, then you'll have videos that you'll watch. You can also read video transcripts if watching something isn't your thing. And usually there's like some coding aspect with it where like you'll code alongside while you watch the video and work through it as they're demonstrating it. For the Road to React class, it's a little bit different. It's text-based. There are some videos that we've built supplementally and a couple that we've found that are good resources on YouTube that if you are more of a visual learner, or if it's helpful to you to have a video to kind of help walk through that, then that will be provided. So you have that as your lesson materials. So the lesson material portion is something that you cover on your own at your pace throughout the week. And then we ask that you attend 2 mentor sessions. So those are live synchronous events, kind of like what we're doing right now, where you'll be on a call with an experienced developer that's the mentor for one of the mentors for the class. And that way you can ask questions about the material that you covered, or if you started working on the coding assignment, if you have any questions that you've run into there, and can kind of work through those problems with somebody live. So that way you're not having to go back and forth with messages. And then there's the coding assignment portion. So each week you'll have a coding assignment of something that you'll work on or build. And then you submit that so that way we can review it and give you feedback about any areas that you might need to strengthen skills on or clarify anything that seems to be confusing to you or anything like that. And throughout the courses, you're building some type of product. So for the backend class, then you're building something in Node.js and Express. And I believe by the end of it, you can kind of determine what you want to build and how it'll be structured. For the Road to React class, it's a to-do list app where you can add items to a list and check them off that they're done. And then for the intro class, it's a portfolio where you'll be able to like list your experience, educational background, information about you, and then link to any projects that you work on and build. And that serves as sort of like your final exam is this project that you build throughout your course. Hopefully that gives plenty of information on class structure, but if there are other questions that y'all have, feel free to post them in chat. One person asked, do we get to work with Python? We don't have a Python class that we offer currently. So Node.js is built in JavaScript language. We do offer a Ruby on Rails class, not this time around. Our next one of those won't be until October with the application period opening in July. And Ruby on Rails is, Ruby is the language that it's done, and it uses SQL as well. But there isn't any Python that's in there. Ruby and Node will be most similar to Python as far as like syntax and structure for how you build out your code in case you're looking for something that's comparable to Python to start getting your feet wet in. Let's see here. Any other questions? Oh, I skimmed through the application. One of the questions asked is if we're currently in school. Do we still fill in that we are current students if we are graduating in May? Yeah, you can go ahead and put in that you're a current student. And I think there's an option for how much time you spend on your schoolwork, maybe after you fill out, after you mark that you are currently in school. So you can put down, you know, will be 0 since you'll be graduating and you'll have no time put towards school when you're actually in the class. Jennifer had asked about when our next round of applications will be. If you're looking just for the intro class, we will have one application period open from about early May until early June, just for an intro class. That's going to be the next one that we'll be offering. And then the next one after that will be for all 4 classes that we offer, the Ruby on Rails, the Node.js, the React.js, and the intro. And that application period will open in July, end of July. We do have a link on the apply now link that's in the chat, codethedream.org /apply-now, that if you want to be notified of future application periods, then you can always just put your information in there and we'll email you when our next application rounds open up. Any other questions?
If there are other questions, feel free to reach out to me directly and I'll just put my email in the chat. our applications are open through Sunday. So I think we have Sunday at midnight is the application deadline. If you haven't taken a look at the application already, I would encourage you, actually, we have a couple minutes, maybe I can take a look at it. We can take a look at it together right now. It does not take very long to complete it. It's much shorter than a college application.
Yes, by far. You don't have to list every person you've ever known and write an essay or anything like that. It's much simpler.
Only recommendations or anything like that. So I would say it probably takes people maybe less than 10 minutes to complete the application. Let's see. Here's the application form. So we're asking just some basic info about which classes you're interested in. If you're currently a student, because we do have students that transition from the intro class into the React class. And then your name, email, phone number. If you live within the United States, just because we like to track what regions our students are coming from. We're really proud of the fact that we have students from 17 states around the country. But we do have some students that reside outside of the US as well. We don't have any requirements as in terms of immigration status. We actually started as an organization called Code for Dreamers. And so we welcome people from undocumented and documented backgrounds absolutely to participate in our program. And then we want to know what kind of region you live in. Are you in a rural region or big city, etc.? If you're employed, if you're in school, and then just some information about your background. So all of this would probably take less than 10 minutes to fill out. We're just really excited to read about all the students and potential students that are coming through the application process. Are there any questions on this application? Great, thank you for dropping that link, Mary Alice.
Yeah, no problem.
Great. Well, we've come to the end of our time and we're very, very thankful that you invited us to come talk about Code the Dream. As you can tell, we're pretty passionate about this organization and we hope to see some applications from MSU. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Daisy, Chris, and Mary. And yeah, thank you. This is incredibly helpful and informative. Thank you all so much for the presentation today.
Thank you.